You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand up, bro.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution or we call it?
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the AfterWork podcast. I'm trying a little bit different of a setup. You can see I finally got my audio panels up behind me, but they don't quite cover the entire wall, so I have to order more for my wall behind my computer and for the remainder of the bottom section of the wall. So I'm kind of standing up right now because it looks better on camera, but hopefully by next time I can go back to sitting down because the way I have this set up is super precarious. But anyway, guys, welcome back to the AfterWork podcast. Today it's just me. I was going to film with Josh again, but we just really didn't have time. We had a lot of other stuff that we were doing today, and by the time we were done with all that, we were both really tired and just wanted to go home. So, I decided that we were going to go ahead and do a solo AfterWork podcast today, just like we usually do beforehand. I know that I may not be as funny when I am alone, and, it's a lot better when I'm with Josh. But, you know what? Deal with it. Gander at my pretty face and listen to my lovely voice. Anyway, guys, so today we've got, four stories for you guys. The very first one that we have is the Nashville Shooters Manifesto was released by Steven Crowder, and I can't actually show you guys the manifesto on YouTube because they will take it down. The story that I'm reading is actually about YouTube taking it down, so I think it'll be okay because I don't think they really say anything about it, but we'll just read the story for that, and that'll be what you guys get. If you want to see the manifesto, you can check it out on Steven Crowder's website, or you can probably find it literally anywhere on the internet at this point. So let's get right into it, and let me bring this up for you guys. So, conservative social media personality Steven Crowder's video containing a manifesto allegedly written by the accused shooter at Nashville's Covenant School last March has been removed by YouTube for violating community guidelines. It says, on Monday, Crowder posted the video, which includes screenshots of the manifesto purportedly written by Audrey Hale, 28, whom authorities identified as the shooter at the school, where 3 children and 3 adults were killed. Authorities have not released any copies of Hale's alleged manifesto, but police said shortly after the shooting that they recovered writings that appeared to have been written by Hale, who died at the scene. According to a Tuesday post to X, formerly Twitter, by Crowder, YouTube removed the video containing clippings of the manifesto because it violated the platform's guidelines. In a screenshot shared by Crowder, which appears to resemble an email sent by a YouTube rep, he was told that the platform's guidelines prohibit linking to content containing manifestos from individuals who have committed violent attacks, including the tragic event that took place in Nashville, Tennessee in February 2023. I disagree with that. I don't think if it's something newsworthy like that, especially when so many people were calling for it to be released, I don't think YouTube should limit the release of information like that. People deserve to know. But that's just me. Obviously, YouTube has different guidelines because they take down anything to do with this. They take down anything to do with COVID. They take down anything that they just don't like. So that is why I post things on Rumble, full episodes of my podcast on Rumble. You can go over there to see the full thing. If my videos get taken down and I have to re-edit them for whatever reason, that's where you can find them, because YouTube does stuff like this. I kind of expect that this video might get taken down just because I'm reading this article, even though it doesn't have, to my knowledge, anything in it from the actual manifesto. The fact that we're talking about it might get this video taken down. So we'll see if YouTube wants to be, dicks about it. So, YouTube removed our video exposing the Nashville Shooters Manifesto, Crowder wrote on X along with a screenshot of the email. This is why we stream to Rumble Video. Hey, that's the same reason I do. He continued, you determine what matters. You determine the content, not YouTube, not the rest of big tech, not their lackeys, and not a gaggle of sponsors who don't have the balls to stand behind the kind of content you actually want to see. YouTube, please don't take me down. I'm quoting Steven Crowder. I'm quoting him from a Newsweek article. Please don't take my video down. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way. A YouTube spokesperson confirmed that it is against the platform's guidelines to link content containing manifestos written by individuals who have committed violent attacks. Removing Crowder's video is consistent with how we've enforced our community guidelines in the past, the spokesperson told Newsweek. Newsweek reached out to Crowder for comment via the Google forum on his website. In a post to Instagram, Crowder shared a screenshot which showed a message from YouTube that told him his video violated the platform's violent criminal organizations policy. According to the screenshot, YouTube's policy states, content that glorifies violent criminal organization or incites violence is not allowed on YouTube. But, see, here's the thing. The manifesto, or at least the portion he put out, doesn't glorify violent criminal organizations, and it doesn't incite violence. It shows the mentality of the person that perpetrated it and what they thought. There's a big difference between a mass murderer who says something akin to, oh, well, I think all these white slurs should die because this, and this, and I am so glad that I'm going to do this, and this. There's a big difference between that in the after the post-shooting era, where we're trying to figure out why they did it. There's a big difference between that and somebody who's putting out a manifesto where they're calling for it and saying, hey, come do this, go do that, kind of like Hamas when they put out the call for the national or worldwide jihad a couple weeks ago. That I can understand because that was a call to action. That was a call to incitement, right? Getting like an idea of what this person's thinking is completely different, in my opinion, after they've already committed the act versus prior to committing the act, and they're calling for you to help commit the act, etc. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that this manifesto release violated YouTube's guidelines, because I don't think it did. I think they're just using this as an excuse, just like they always do with a lot of their content, to basically screw over anybody who has the wrong opinion. Anyway, continuing on. The Metro Nashville Police Department has not confirmed that the screenshots shared by Crowder are Hale's manifesto. This is an older article. I believe that they actually have confirmed either today or yesterday, I want to say. So it says that they're unable to confirm blah, 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 but I'm pretty sure that they did. The Nashville mayor, Freddie O'Connell, called on the city's legal team to investigate the possibility that Hale's manifesto had been released without authorization. In a statement, he said he was deeply concerned with the safety, security, and well-being of the Covenant families and all the Nashvillians who are grieving in light of Crowder's video. How is releasing the manifesto going to affect these families' safety? I don't understand that. Like, is somebody going to attack the families because of it? Like, I don't understand the thinking behind it. It doesn't make any sense to me personally. Brent Leatherwood, a Nashville resident whose 3 children attend the Covenant School, criticized Crowder for sharing the manifesto. How many people have to be killed in a senseless way so that you can get clicks? The damage done today is already significant, and I'm afraid it's only going to grow. I don't understand what that means. how many people have to be killed in a senseless way so you can get clicks. This is a newsworthy story because normally the manifestos for these shooters are released right away. When it's a white supremacist or it's somebody who didn't like Muslims or something, it's always immediately released. Whereas in this instance, because it was a trans person, all of a sudden we're not getting it for months, and it had to be leaked for us to get it. That seems, in my opinion, like they are intentionally trying to suppress it because it goes against the normal narrative that the media wants to push. But hey, that's just me. That's just my opinion. YouTube. It's an opinion. I'm not stating fact. It's opinion. Thank you. Please don't take my video down, YouTube. It is opinion. During an episode of Crowder's podcast, Louder with Crowder, that was shared to Rumble on Tuesday, he stood by his decision to publish Hale's purported writings and bashed YouTube and other big tech companies for trying to censor the manifesto. Here's something you're not seeing, Crowder told his listeners. No one is refuting the authenticity, including the mayor, including the police department. They're attacking the messenger. Yeah. So, again, like I said, I believe that it has now been confirmed that the pages are authentic, but the police department has seemed to say that it seems like there's more that they haven't told us. Like, there's more pages, it seems. So I'm interested to see, like, what was left out. Like, what other pages are there that we haven't seen yet? Because I saw all 3 pages. I looked through all 3 pages. It is some horrible crap. Now, I can't repeat it, and I can't show it, because YouTube will 100% take my video down if I put that in there. I'm already walking on thin ice here, boys. Like, we're in the dead of winter, but the ice is like a millimeter thin, and I'm about to fall through just because I'm reading this story. So, yeah. But, again, I think it was important to release this. 7 officers were put on leave because of this, and they're being investigated. Now, Crowder came out and said that none of those officers that were put on leave were the ones that did it, which, you know, go figure, the ineptitude of government. They can't even find their own leaks correctly. But also, somebody started a rumor, I guess, that Crowder paid for the information, which he also said did not happen. So they've already got 2 problems. One, they can't figure out who it was, and they're saying that it was paid for, but it wasn't. Yeah, it seems like they're not going to figure out, or not going to be able to figure out who it was that leaked it, and I hope they don't, because screw that police department. They should have released this a long time ago. They need to release the entire thing, in my opinion, just like they would have done with literally any other of the manifestos that have been released in the past within a couple days. It's been 8 months now, and we're just barely getting 3 pages. So that is just my opinion, and yeah. So anyway, guys. Okay, so now here's another story that it's short, but it's funny as hell. There was almost a fight on the was it Senate floor, I want to say. I think it was the Senate floor. Alrighty, guys, so the next story that we have is one that I think is hilarious. Bernie Sanders tries to stop a fight on the Senate floor. They're having a hearing, and Bernie Sanders stops a fight. Now here, of all the people to stop a fight, I would not have thought that it was Bernie Sanders at all. let's just watch the video. It's hilarious, man. This is hilarious.
Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand up, bro.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution or we call it?
No, sit down. Sit down. You know, you're a United States
You're
Senator.
the United
Active.
States
Oh,
Senator.
okay.
Sit
Sit
down,
down.
please.
All right.
Can I respond?
Hold it. If
Hold
we
on.
can, no,
This is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and
You-
bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have
I don't like you.
Just, it's hilarious, man. Hold on. I gotta run that shit back.
Pretends like he's
Yo, so here's the funny part, right? So Bernie Sanders is like, hold on, you're U.S. Senator, like that means anything. Yo, it's a dude who talk crap, and this senator's like, hey man, you want to talk crap? Let's go. And here's the funny part: I'm pretty sure that Mullen did MMA, like he won. I think he won like 3 fights in a row. he did MMA, bro. Like this guy would absolutely take out cue ball. Like hold on, look at this guy. This guy is gonna fight. This guy is gonna fight freaking Mullins, bro. This guy. Okay, so this guy is the one that did MMA, and this bald guy is like, "Yo, let's go." And look at the guy in the background. Look at this dude. He's so ready for this. He's so ready. This is the face of a man who has been to a ton of these hearings, and this is the most exciting thing he has ever seen in his entire life. He is like, dude, let's do it. Look at the dude. This is the face of a man. This is the face of a man who absolutely is loving this shit. He is ready for the shit to go down. This guy's face actually reminds me of that clip where he's at the MMA fight and the guy is just like, grab his dick and twist it.
grab his dick and twist it.
This is the face of a man that would shout something like that. Oh my god.
Oh, dick twist.
And I really wish Bernie didn't stop this fight, because could you imagine the amazing time that would have happened if they were throwing down on the Senate floor and this man shouted, grab his dick and twist. Oh. Oh my god. This is the funniest goddamn story I've seen. Oh my god. I need to calm down. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, that happened. And, Bernie is, of course, gonna act all high and mighty and righteous. It's like, no. Hey, calm down. Yo, you're a U.S. Senator. It's like, Bernie, shut up. Yo, back in the day, bro, like, freaking senators, congressmen, if they had a problem, they would duel, bro. Like, they would go out, walk 10 paces, turn around, and shoot guns at each other, okay? And there was one instance of a dude getting caned to the point of having a freaking traumatic brain injury back in the day when, like, come on, man. There's still 2 states, and Texas is one of them, that have mutual combat laws, where as long as you agree to it, the cops can't tell you no, as long as nobody gets, like, seriously hurt. You can throw punches at each other, as long as you've got, like, some kind of referee, man. Like, now, I don't know if you can do that in D.C., but I feel like if they don't have that law, we need to add that. That should absolutely be a part of the rules for Congress and the Senate. Is like, if you disagree with somebody to the point where you want to fight, here's the regulation: boxing gloves. Let's go. Like, that would make watching these freaking boring Senate votes so much more interesting, don't you think? Like, that would be primetime TV. Like, could you imagine Fetterman versus freaking Bernie Sanders? I mean, put them up. I mean, Fetterman prior to the brain injury that he has, obviously, because you don't want to add to that. But, like, how much fun would it be to watch those 2 guys go against each other? And then, like, could we place bets on it? Because, like, I think I'd actually take Fetterman. I would take brain-damaged Fetterman over Bernie Sanders. I think he could win over Sanders in a boxing match on the Senate floor. Yeah, I think so. I don't. You tell me in the comments down below. Who do you think would win in a boxing match? Brain-damaged Fetterman or Bernie Sanders? I'm going to Fetterman. Man, oh god. That shit was funny, dude. Like, that was hilarious. But speaking of fighting, we actually have another thing that was going on with fighting. And it's actually infighting at the Daily Wire. Now, the freaking article that I have here says far right media clash, but it's that's because it's, well, obviously, you know, a article from Forbes. So, you know, far right media clash. Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens blow up explained. But it kind of explains stuff, and I prefer to use left-leaning places, left-leaning sources if I can, to explain stuff to you guys, so that way you know, YouTube can't take down my videos and be like, oh, well, you know, this is misinformation. I'll be like, dude, it's from, like, left-leaning sources, so I don't know what you want from me. So that's why I use these sources more often. Infighting at the conservative media outlet The Daily Wire went public this week as the company's co-founder Ben Shapiro and show host Candace Owens traded as the company's co-founder Ben Shapiro and show host Candace Owens traded escalating personal insults over differing views on the Israel-Hamas war, with Shapiro encouraging her to quit and Owens responding by calling it emotionally unhinged. The beef between the two pundits unfolded this week after Shapiro, a forceful supporter of Israel, was filmed calling Owens disgraceful for her faux sophistication on the conflict. Conservatives have previously criticized Owens for her statements, including a post on X in which she said, "No government anywhere has a right to commit a genocide," though she clarified she did not mention Israel or any other country. Owens posted a series of Bible verses Wednesday, including that you cannot serve both God and money. Shapiro responded in a post, liked by 26,000 times, telling her that if taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit. Minutes later, Owens accused Shapiro of acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and called him utterly out of line for suggesting that I cannot quote biblical scripture, garnering more than 50,000 likes on both posts. Owens also appeared on the latest episode of Tucker Carlson's show, which premiered on Wednesday, where she called Shapiro's comments ad hominem attacks that she couldn't respond to on a level of intellect. Okay, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna read any further down because it's some stupid background where they talk about stuff she said about Kanye West, defending him when he said some stupid stuff, and then something about like Hitler or some crap. They like to frame it a certain way. I mean, you can tell by the title where they said far right, blah blah blah. So I'm not gonna read that far, but so there's like this spat at the Daily Wire between Candace and Ben Shapiro. And the reason that I am even bringing this up is because the Daily Wire is one of the things that I watch on occasion. I don't really watch them that much, but every now and then I do. Sometimes, they have good takes. Sometimes they have bad takes. In this case, it's a little odd because they are torn. They have different opinions. Now, here's the thing. Ben is Jewish, and I'm sure he has family in Israel. And because of that, he is very emotional towards this particular subject. I think Candace is a little more disconnected, kind of like me and a lot of other people who don't really have a dog in the fight. And we're like, hey, look, we don't like this foreign policy of sending missiles and helping out and this, and that when we have problems here at home. It's a terrible thing that happened, obviously, but we need to focus elsewhere. And sending missiles to Israel so they can bomb a bunch of civilians is not something that we really want to do. While Ben seems to be like, hey, look, we need to defend Israel, we need to go after Hamas, do all this stuff. And it apparently got emotional. But here's the thing, here's what I'm wondering. Ben has said, why don't you quit? He is a co-founder for this company, right? I'm sure Candace has a contract that she signed with the Daily Wire. My question is, if he said publicly, why don't you quit, is that constructive firing or constructive dismissal? If she decided, okay, I guess I'm leaving because the co-founder of the company seems to not want me here, do you think she could get out of the contract and run her own thing? I'm just curious. Because that's like the only part of that drama that I even care about is like, could that be used to break the contract? Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, tell me, do you think Candace is right in the kind of like, we really shouldn't be doing anything helping them out, killing civilians, because just because civilians were killed in the attack with Hamas doesn't mean we should retaliate and kill civilians? Or do you think that Ben is right where it's like, hey, look, they basically did Israel's version of 9/11 and we need to go in there and rip out Hamas, and unfortunately that comes with some civilian casualties. War is a no-win scenario. So you tell me in the comments down below which side you kind of fall on. And please, for the love of God, be civil in the comments. Like, don't freaking attack each other. Civil discussion, okay? We don't need to be, like, hurling insults back and forth. Just put your opinion down below. And if somebody doesn't like the opinion, don't freaking, go off on them, okay? I know I'm talking to a brick wall because this is the internet and all of you people are fucking monsters and you will absolutely shit on each other in the comments, but I have to put the disclaimer because I'm a nice person. So, have at it, you little monsters. Anyway, going on to, let's see here, going on to the next story, I'm just going to flip over to it really quick. We have, the FCC, what is it? Let me see if I can. Office of the Commissioner Brendan Carr. Here's the thing. So Carr opposes President Biden's plan to give the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the U.S. So Biden decided to put like $100 billion into like an infrastructure thing to build broadband internet and ISP services. Is that the right? Is it ISP or? Yeah, ISP, Internet Service Provider. Like government-owned ISPs to people who can't afford it, can't do this. But the bill goes pretty far and gives the FCC a lot more control than they should have. And the commissioner, Brandon Carr, of the FCC, put out this letter where he's like, yo, no, this shouldn't be happening. This is insane. So I'm going to read the entire letter because it's only 3 pages long. And if you have such a short attention span that you can't have me read a 3-page letter, then why are you watching a podcast or listening to a podcast? Anyway, so we're going to go through the whole letter, and I just want you guys to listen to what he is saying. And he's in the government. Like this guy. I like this guy. I like this Brandon Carr because he points out a lot of things that could go wrong with this and things that we should be concerned about. Washington, D.C., November 6th, 2023. So this was about 2 weeks or so ago. Carr issued the following statement. Democrats have been in charge of the FCC and administrative agencies in D.C. for approaching 12 out of the last 16 years. They've had the opportunity over that stretch of time to put in place nearly any federal telecom policy of their choosing. In fact, the federal government has allocated hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars for the purpose of ending the digital divide, while Democrats have run the administrative state. After all that time and after all that spending, the Biden admin has concluded that the Democrats' policies are not working. Color me shocked that throwing money at the problems never frickin' works. It doesn't work with schools, and it sure doesn't work here either, and it doesn't work for gun control either. You have to come up with better solutions. Money kind of grows on trees because the Fed prints it, but you know what I'm saying. I agree with Biden on this point. The administration's broadband policies are failing. The costs of building internet infrastructure in this country have skyrocketed thanks to the Biden administration's inflationary policies. The administration has no plan for filling a now empty spectrum pipeline, one that is vital to America's economy and geopolitical leadership. Meanwhile, the FCC is just sitting on spectrum that could connect millions of Americans to new 5G services. The administration has needlessly blocked and delayed new broadband infrastructure builds. Fiber and cell site components are laying fallow in warehouses and lay down yards across the country due to the government's failure to remove regulatory red tape. Permitting reform has gone nowhere. And the Biden administration is preparing to waste additional taxpayer dollars through its multi-billion-dollar Internet for All initiative by pursuing extraneous political goals at the expense of connecting Americans. But the Biden administration is taking away all the wrong lessons from its failed broadband policies. Rather than righting the ship, the Biden administration is going hard left. It is now blaming the private sector and free market capitalism itself for the administration's own policy shortfalls. The problem, the administration has apparently concluded, is that the FCC has never gone full command and control when it comes to regulating the internet. Color me shocked that the authoritarian that's in office decides to go full fucking authoritarian. Huh. Who thunk it? Who would have thunk? Right? So last month, President Biden gave the FCC its marching orders. The president called on the FCC to implement a one-page section of the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act by adopting new rules of breathtaking scope, all in the name of digital equity. For the first time ever, those rules would give the federal government a roving mandate to micromanage nearly every aspect of how the internet functions, from how ISPs allocate capital and where they build to the services that consumers can purchase, from the profits that ISPs can realize and how they market and advertise services to the discounts and promotions that consumers can receive. Talk about central planning. Needless to say, Congress never contemplated the sweeping regulatory regime that President Biden asked the FCC to adopt, let alone authorize the agency to implement it. Nonetheless, the Commission will vote next week on November 15th to put President Biden's plan into place. A draft of the FCC order implementing President Biden's plan is available here. I oppose the plan for several reasons. President Biden's plan hands the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the country. Never before in the roughly 40-year history of the public internet has the FCC, or any federal agency for that matter, claimed this degree of control over it. Indeed, President Biden's plan calls for the FCC to apply a far-reaching set of government controls that the agency has not applied to any technology in the modern era, including the Title II common carriers. The closest analog would be the heavy-handed rules the FCC applied to the mobile telephone monopoly during the height of the New Deal era. A copper wire period of time when it was hard to distinguish between government regulation and regulator and telephone provider. But do not take my word for it. The text of the order expressly provides that the FCC would be empowered for the first time to regulate each and every ISP's network infrastructure deployment, network reliability, network upgrades, network maintenance, customer premises equipment, and installation. Speeds, capacities, latency, data caps, throttling, pricing, promotional rates, improvision of late fees, opportunity for equipment rental, installation time, contract renewal terms, service termination terms, and the use of customer credit and account history. Mandatory arbitration clauses, pricing, deposits, discounts, customer service, language options, credit checks, marketing or advertising, contract renewal, upgrades, account termination, transfers to another covered entity, and service suspension. As exhausting as it is to read that list, the FCC itself says it is not an exhaustive list. Sounds like a pretty exhaustive list to me, but if that's not an exhaustive list, what else are they going to... That pretty much covered everything. The Biden administration's plan empowers the FCC to regulate every aspect of the internet sector for the first time ever. The plan is motivated by an ideology of government control that is not compatible with the fundamental precepts of free market capitalism, or freedom at all for that matter. But it gets worse. It gets worse, guys. The FCC reserves the right under this plan to regulate both actions and omissions, whether recurring or a single instance. In other words, if you take any action, you may be liable. And if you do nothing, you may be liable. There is no path to complying with this standard list regime. It reads like a planning document drawn up in the facility lounge of a university's Soviet Studies department. President Biden's plan sweeps entire industries within the FCC's jurisdiction for the first time in the agency's 90-year history. It would be one thing if the FCC cabined its intrusive new regime to ISPs or even businesses within the communication sector. It does not. The draft FCC order says that we are not explicitly tasked with regulating entities outside the Commission's industry. A rare moment of regulatory humility, but it then goes on to say that the FCC will do so in the case nonetheless. The moment passed. Landlords are now covered, construction crews are now covered, marketing agencies are now covered, banks covered, the government itself is now covered, all newly regulated by the FCC and liable for any act or omission that the agency determines has an impermissible impact on a consumer's access to broadband. Congress never authorized the FCC to regulate these industries or entities. So, to all the businesses and individuals that will be subject to FCC regulation for the first time ever, welcome. I hope you have good lawyers. I love this guy. This guy's great. President Biden's plan allows the FCC to impose unfunded build mandates on ISPs and limited monetary fines on every covered entity. Section 6056, the one-page portion of the infrastructure law that President cites as an authority for the FCC's new regime, does not authorize the Commission to create or enforce new punitive liability rules or compel builds. Instead, it directs the FCC to facilitate equal access to broadband internet access service. Nonetheless, the FCC's draft order determines that the agency will apply the full suite of the Communication Act's enforcement powers to any act or omission that violates its new section, although it will do so with one minor deviation from the Communication Act norm. It imposes no ceiling on the level of potential fines. So, infinite fines, boys. You can take that to the bank. Well, actually, the government will take you to the cleaners and your money to the bank. This means that ISPs could very well be compelled to build out internet infrastructure with no compensation. And every decision from the C-suite to the call center will be subject to FCC second guessing. President Biden's plan includes price controls. Last month, at the 11th hour, the FCC slightly softened its proposal to use Title II proceeding to regulate broadband rates. Now we know why. The Section 6506 order that the FCC will vote on next week expressly states that the FCC can use it to regulate broadband pricing and even an ISP's profitability. Title II is no longer necessary to achieve that end, but the Section 6506 rules do more than that. The FCC arrogates itself to the power to review and determine the lawfulness of promotional pricing and discounts. If it even puts the use of credit checks squarely in its crosshairs. Of course, Congress did not give the FCC power to do any of this. The agency just creates it out of whole cloth. So it's just making up these rules based on the whims of the president. President Biden's plan adopts an expansive and disfavored theory of liability that Congress neither directed nor authorized the FCC to adopt. Section 6506 of the Infrastructure Act speaks in brief and straightforward terms, states that it is the policy of the United States that, insofar as technically and economically feasible, subscribers should benefit from equal access to broadband. Section 6506 then directs the FCC to adopt rules that facilitate equal access to broadband and to prevent and eliminate digital discrimination based on income level, race, ethnicity, color, religion, or national origin. So see, what they're doing is they're painting it like, hey, like, poor people need broadband too. They need internet access because it's the modern day. And, like, to do that, we have to just, have full control of all of it. And you have no say in how much money you make, pricing, or any of that stuff like late fees or literally it's going to be government owned and you don't have a private business anymore. Sorry. Does that sound good to you? Like, what? No. What? After nearly 2 years and several rounds of comments, the FCC's draft order concludes that there is little or no evidence in the agency's record to even indicate that there has been any intentional discrimination in the broadband market within the meaning of the statute. But instead of proceeding with forward-looking rules on that basis, the FCC, at President Biden's direction, reads an expansive and disfavored theory of liability into law that exists nowhere in statutory text. Even in the absence of any evidence of international discrimination or intentional discrimination, the Biden plan states the FCC can impose potentially unbound liability if the agency finds that some act or even failure to act happened to result in disparate impact based on the FCC's own judgment. Reading this theory of liability into laws conflicts with the Supreme Court's civil rights precedent. The FCC should not adopt it. In the end, the FCC could have adopted rules that lawfully and faithfully implemented Congress's decisions in the Infrastructure Act. The FCC could have taken concrete steps that would have extended high-speed internet services to more Americans. In fact, the FCC cites a few such actions in its draft order that we were raised in the record, including eliminating government-imposed barriers and regulatory red tape that have been slowing down broadband builds. But instead of going that route, the FCC opts for this ideological approach instead. So, what does all that mean? Basically means Biden was trying to take over Basically means that Biden was trying to take over the internet and make it completely government run 100% through all aspects all the way around, right? So, yeah. Crazy shit. So for those of you who are wondering, because this said that they were voting on the 15th, this passed. The FCC voted, and it was a vote of, approved 3-2 on Thursday to prevent digital discrimination. But as we just read, this is through basically executive fiat. Biden is telling the FCC, hey, these are the new rules. The FCC voted on it, and they're like, yeah, we should prevent discrimination. But all of those side effects that we just read, that Carr basically was like, hey, these are all the things that the FCC is going to be empowered to do. They're going to be able to control all of this. Yeah, that's going to happen now. So I hope that all these private businesses have good lawyers, because they're going to have to fight this tooth and nail to prevent the government from completely overtaking them through executive action. It's like every time I turn around, Biden is doing some other BS thing to destroy this country. Like, he is literally going, yeah, we want to control the internet under the guise of fairness and non-discrimination, and everybody should have access. But at the same time, we're going to have complete control over all of this. And because of that, we're going to be pushing out private businesses to the point where they may not even be able to function correctly or make a profit. And then guess what? If these businesses fail because of that, who's left? Oh, that's right. Only the government-controlled ISPs. Do you think it's coincidence? No. That's the whole plan, is they're trying to push out private businesses so that the government controls all of it. So, this is crazy. So, yeah, guys, be prepared for all your internet to be government run. You think you like your speeds now at 500 or a gigabyte per second? Yeah, wait until the government gets a hold of it. Everything's gonna get worse. They're gonna watch everything you do. They're gonna control all your prices. It's gonna be terrible. So yeah, that's fun. I am shocked, honestly, that they voted in favor of it. To be honest, I'm shocked. Because I thought that they would be like, no. But at the same time, they are a government, they're a government wing. They're another 3-letter agency, and we all know that 3-letter agencies really, really like to hold on to power. So much so that they will murder John F. Arrest people for no real reason, for things that they probably should have lost in a boating accident. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm not about to get fucking shot in the head. But seriously, guys, we need to do something about this. I don't know, start a petition or hell if I know, man. But yeah, the government is always been kind of tyrannical, but it is getting to the point where it is almost unbearable at this point. It just way too much. Way too much. I mean, it really started in the early 2000s with 9/11 and the Patriot Act and spying on us. And then Obama was like, yeah, you get to use propaganda against American people. And now Biden is like making us reliant on foreign oil because we can't drill oil here. He's letting the Taliban have our freaking military equipment. He's throwing us into a bunch of wars freaking for no real reason, in my opinion. And then now he's like, and we're going to control the internet. Jesus. I mean, what is going on? Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. And it's crazy. Tell me what you guys think about the Senate floor fight, because that was hilarious. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of new setup a little bit better with me standing in front of my thing, or if you like the two-person thing. Do you miss Josh? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.